This program contains content that may not be appropriate for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're investigating a series of cattle mutilations that occurred on Gayland Jones's ranch. Strange lights were seen over his property, and in this case, something very unusual was left behind.
You lose 25 head or so in a period of 10 years. The worst part of it is the law or nobody can find what's going on, and I have no idea who's mutilated any of these cows at all. Got a lot of ideas on who might be doing this, but it'd probably be better not said.
We were not prepared for what we stumbled into. We came out here looking, expecting to find a 2-month-old cattle mutilation, and we came across a fresh kill, fresh meat.
Ken Storch, 31 years in law enforcement. Bob, he's run undercover operations for a whole host of federal law enforcement agencies. Both of them have investigated the cattle mutilation phenomenon for years. They came to Missouri to investigate a 2008 cattle mutilation phenomenon reported by Gayland Jones on his ranch. But when they got here, they found something neither of them expected.
Mr. Jones comes over the hill and he's driving his tractor. First words out of his mouth, he goes, "You're not going to believe it, the bastards hit me again last night."
It's very rare when you come upon a brand new cattle mutilation, one where there's been no real investigation yet. Ken Storch has started the investigation. He's mapped out the crime scene. They checked it for footprints. They checked it for tractor marks. Okay, could you describe the crime scene exactly as you saw it?
I'm glad you used that term, Bill, because that's exactly what we're dealing with here is a crime. This particular incident, the cow was laying on its side with its head tilted back. And from what we could see, the eye was missing. The mouth is clenched shut. We had to pry the mouth open to see if the tongue was there, and it was gone.
When you saw this animal, how much rigor had set in?
It was to the point where I would say it had been dead, I'm guessing here, between 4 and 6 hours.
When you initially found it, what was mutilated on the cow?
The eye was gone and the tongue was cut out.
Couldn't animals have done this?
I've never seen a mouth disturbed by an animal.
The tongue has been taken out far back into the throat and it's been cut. Not torn or ripped, but it's been cut.
When I come back on Wednesday morning, they'd cut the other 2 teeth off and the lower part of the udder.
And the anus has been cored out.
Yes.
So this is 3 nights and 3 different mutilations on the same cow.
Yes.
We're finding that the eyeball has been taken out. Probably not by birds, because even Gayland Jones says when birds attack an eyeball, they leave all kinds of tissue strung out. This is not the work of birds.
Tuesday morning, which was the 10th, when we came back out here, Gayland informed us that the teats, 2 sets of teats, had been removed from the udder.
I mean, what are you saying? Did someone return to finish the mutilation?
The perpetrators of this came back because they were after specific things on this animal and they didn't get it Sunday night.
Wouldn't that be a risky operation? I mean, it's tough enough to come in here undetected one night, but to come in a second night to get just a few more cow parts, it just sounds like a lot of work for a little bit.
You're right, Pat. The second time, you know they're going to be a hell of a lot more cautious because they now know that this cow's been discovered dead.
But why would they risk that? Who would risk that?
Whatever it is that they're after on this animal, the reward is worth the risk.
What about the possibility that some predator started feeding, then the next day they returned and fed a little bit more, and this is the gradual work of predators? Is that possible?
When a coyote goes into a rectum, they take the entrails out and you'll see where their nails to get farther into the carcass. You'll see their footprints in the mud, the mucus, the blood.
If a veterinarian is going to tell me that a coyote or a predator did that, that membrane is going to be ripped and shredded and they're going to take it.
Exactly right.
That's soft tissue. That's what they're after from a scavenger point, and they didn't take it.
I don't see any evidence around here that it's the work of people. And wouldn't there be footprints? Wouldn't there be, you know, tracks from
You
some
don't
vehicle?
see any evidence of people doing this? I don't see any evidence of predators doing this, so we're at a standstill.
If there are no people and there are no predators, who did this?
We ran into a piece of technology that I can't fully explain.
Ken Storch and Bob were first on the scene and shot these never-before-seen photographs just hours after the cow was killed.
I had a metal detector. When I scanned over the cow's head, specifically the ear, I got a boop. I backed away and I reprogrammed it and recalibrated it for precious metals. It's more sensitive on precious metals. I came back, scanned over the ear and over the head, nothing. When I moved down over the jawline, I got a hit. By this time, I'm shook up. I mean, internally, my mind's racing. I moved the metal detector over the jawline, got nothing again, moved it over the neck in this area right in here, I got a hit.
I almost can't believe what I'm hearing. How could a piece of metal be moving around inside the skull of a cow? Maybe this thing was emitting some strange frequencies at certain times and other times not. I don't know, but this is really unexplainable, and I'm having a hard time believing it. Are you describing some kind of detection evading implant?
I think that's exactly what we were dealing with, Pat. We think that the sound wave of the metal detector, the frequency, triggered a defensive action it was trying to hide, and it took evasive action. It was running from my signal.
I've been writing about cattle mutilations for over 10 years. I've never come across this. There's a metallic implant inside a cow that's moving. And we've seen a metallic implant inside a human being scores of times. There's a relationship between an implant in a cow and an implant in a human being abductee.
We came out here Tuesday and I scanned this animal and never got a hit on anything.
So something removed the metal implant and you saw no indication of anything on the ground, tracks, landing marks.
We can't say that somebody removed it. All we can say is when we came back the following day, it was gone.
We're here next to the carcass. We're taking out our instruments. We're going to take a few measurements.
We're going to start off with pulling out the metal detector and giving the cow a once-over, see if we have any hits of the implant that was encountered a couple weeks ago.
See? That's what I'm talking about. Nothing.
Pat and I are going to pull out the Geiger counter and magnetometer. Hopefully we'll find some magnetic fields, possibly some radiation left over by whoever actually performed this heinous activity.
One of the most common explanations is that these cattle mutilations are the result of satanic cults or other extreme religious groups. So we've called in a cult expert to examine the crime scene.
There are some specific wounds to this body that do not match up with any traditional animal sacrifice I've ever seen, such as the removal of the eye, the taking of the tongue, the wounds to the back of the cow.
Tony Cale is a former sheriff's deputy who advises police departments worldwide on cults and extreme religious behavior.
Typically when we found incidents involving animal cruelty and people affiliating themselves with an occult belief system, there's at least been somewhat of a theater of symbols, of graffiti, of paraphernalia. There's none of that. The fact that this was taken from someone is not a true sacrifice. This is essentially stealing a sacrifice, so a god or spirit in most traditional religious cultures would be offended.
Whoever was responsible for this did this over 3 successive nights. Does that fit any profile you know of?
Most traditional animal sacrifices would be done at one time. Anything past that is nothing but cruelty, is nothing but torture. This is, I'm not sure what this is.
If we've established that it's not predators and it's not cults, then what else are we left with?
Just 2 weeks after we completed our investigation, we got a call from Gayland Jones that he'd had another mutilation, a calf, making it 27 mutilations since 1991. And in Los Animas County, where Lou Girotto has said these cattle mutilations are ongoing, there were 3 new cases since we last completed our investigation. The phenomenon is real, and it's ongoing.